Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. And it is time for our weekly track roundup where I go over what I felt were the worst and the best tracks of the week. They're all linked down below like usual. Also linked down below is our Turntable Lab link. Get a colorful pressing of a record we have reviewed on our channel over there. We get kickback from it, supports the channel and everything we do. Also supporting the channel and everything we do is patreon.com/theneedledrop. Head over there and get some extra bonus monthly exclusive content, patron-only Let's Argues, patron-only classic album listening parties, patreon.com/theneedledrop. Link down below. All right, the worst tracks of the week. There are quite a few. Let's go through them. 1, this new track from the new Lil Mosey record. You guys might remember how underwhelmed I was by his XXL freshman activities. This new track with him featuring Trippie Redd, Never Scared, is so mediocre and so boring and so awful and so generic. It's really indescribable at this point. It's just a really bad, woozy, mellow trap with no soul or personality whatsoever. And that is most likely the case for the entire LP. All right, we have a new Little Baby track, Whoa. And yeah, he just continues to sound like a Young Thug impersonator, but with less charisma, not quite as skilled vocally, and very generic trap beat on this one too. ROUX has a new single out, International Woman of Leisure. And it's kind of unfortunate because I did love her last full-length LP. I was looking forward to a new album when or if it was coming out. And the beat on this track is so thin, and it's so bad, and it's so, I guess, anxiety-inducing in how repetitive and I guess one-dimensional it is. I don't really care for a lot of the vocals on the track either. However, I'm basing most of my dislike of this song on just how terrible the instrumental is. This instrumental is god-awful. And mostly just because it feels like it's stuck in this constant state of introduction. You know, once it kind of introduces itself, it doesn't really grow all that much. It's just a very flat instrumental that didn't really complement this track in my opinion at all, or really the song that ROUX is trying to bring to the table here. So I don't know. We also have this kind of a lead track off of Doja Cat's new LP, Hot Pink, which I hope to be talking about very soon, but still. Cybersex is the name of the track. And I mean, I've been hearing some tracks here and there from this new LP. It seems so far really all over the place. And just having a hard time wrapping my head around this track because it just sounds like a kind of watered down Nicki Minaj impression. Like, this is a song I feel like Nicki Minaj would have dropped in the mid-2000s, the late 2000s. No, rather I want to say late 2000s. Like in the late 2000s, or really not even that. This is like some super bass era, I would say, Nicki Minaj. Sorry, I'm having a hard time kind of placing that chronologically, but still. And I don't think Doja Cat really brings anything interesting to this particular blend of pop rap. So I don't know. Cybersex, not really liking it. I think it's kind of a little generic. Moving on from there, new Best Coast song for the first time. Yeah, it's just very bad, breezy pop rock. With completely soulless production. God, this is such bland production. The guitars, the drums, everything just sounds so plain and inoffensive and boring. Just kind of sounds like hanging out in an IKEA all day. I just don't care for it. And we also have a new track from Beck, Dark Places. I don't know how Beck gets seemingly more and more and more boring with every new single release. It is heartbreaking. This coming from somebody who used to love this man's output in the 90s. And, you know, still to this day, I rep heavy records like One Foot in the Grave. I rep heavy records like The Information, which I think is one of his last, you know, great and also underrated records too. But this, I just cannot. I just can't. It's just so boring. It's just so boring. All right, let's get into the tracks that I thought were meh. not blown away by them, but certainly worth pointing at. And you guys may dig them a little more than me. So again, pay attention. We have a track, Nerve to Reverse. This song from a band going by the name of These New South Wales. And again, newer group. They're also kind of like a comedy troupe. It's a bit of maybe a multimedia kind of thing. And this track is some not so bad, very rowdy, straightforward, energized, enjoyable punk rock. And I don't know. I'm kind of liking it. I'm sort of waiting for something distinct to kind of jump out at me, and I'm hoping that that'll be the case when I try out their new LP and just kind of see what that's all about. So Nerve to Reverse, These New South Wales. Check them out. It seems like they have some good things going for them, and they're showing a lot of promise. Ozzy Osbourne, brand new single, The Prince of Darkness himself, Under the Graveyard. It's not bad. Ozzy has put out much worse stuff, especially in the 2000s. However, this track to my ears kind of sounds like a 2000s, era Ozzy track, but one of the good ones. One of the good ones. I mean, it's got a kind of very sad and melodramatic intro. The harder riffs come in later, becomes super big, anthemic. It's very formulaic. We've heard Ozzy put out tracks like this before, but it's not bad. Moving on from there, KSI, YouTube hero KSI, just won that amazing match against Logan Paul. Right? KSI beat Logan Paul. KSI, Logan Paul. Yeah, he beat the crap out of Logan Paul. That's amazing. That's fantastic. I love it. Anyway, he has a new track out, amazingly, featuring Rick Ross, Lil Baby, and I guess SX, one artist I'm not familiar with on here, unfortunately, but it's not great, but it's a pretty competent trap banger with a melodic chorus. Seems kind of thrown and cobbled together. Seems like he just kind of put this track out for the clout, but it turned out not bad, and it's kind of climbing up the Apple Music charts right now. So I don't know. Good for him. Came out with a popular track, got some big names on it. Down like that, KSI. Jehnny Beth of Savage's fame is coming through with some solo material here. I'm the Man, and it's a very abrasive, cacophonous piece of almost industrial rock music. I think there are points where the songwriting and the messaging really sort of gets lost in the chaos of what Beth is doing on this track, but I still do like the ruckus she's stirring here. Hopefully this is a taste of what's to come. Hopefully we get more sooner rather than later. Jehnny Beth, I'm the Man. Kind of digging it. Potential. Free Nationals, Anderson .Paak's band. They've been putting out track after track after track after track with lots of different guests, a range of different guests. This new one is featuring Sid of the internet fame, and it's very smooth, very soulful, very groovy, pretty inoffensive, but it's got a good vibe to it. Also, Club Nites from the band Dumb. This is a group I just kind of came across on Bandcamp. Club Nites is the name of the track, also the name of the project they've just recently put out. And it's some pretty good, herky-jerky, somewhat offbeat post-punk music. If you like bands like Parquet Courts, you'll probably fuck with this pretty heavy. Give it a try. Give it a shot. We also have Dave East, new track. Off of his project Survival. This new one features Lil Baby. Night Shift is the title of it. And it's okay. I mean, every time I hear Dave East's music, it sounds all right. He's a competent rapper. He seems to pick beats that aren't total trash, but don't really stick out in any way, shape, or form. And his writing typically just feels okay to me. Some similes here and there that are worth an eye roll, but nothing that's like the worst thing I've ever heard. He's just very middle of the road to my ears. And frankly, despite how many times I've tried Dave East's music, every time he drops a new project, and I get a few requests here and there to try it, I still to this day have not been able to commit not even a single second of his music to memory. So mostly this track is going to be in one ear and out the other, just like every other one. And I don't know. I mean, obviously there are people out there who are fucking with this dude's stuff heavily. I mean, they must be in order for him to be continuing in the fashion that he is. But his music just does not really do too much for me, frankly. Moving on from there, Dad. Who's this guy? Hey, if you've been on YouTube a long time, you know Dad. You know Dad. And he has a new track out featuring Danny Brown, and it's all about Dad feeling good. Dad feels good. It's a song about what's making Dad feel good. You know, just kicking back, watching some Tube, that sort of thing. It's a weird dance rap track that's very tongue-in-cheek and very silly. Shout out to Dad. Shout out to Dad. Clipping. Clipping has come through with a bit of a post-album, non-album single, Aquacode Databreaks. Shabazz Palace is featured on the song. I could see why this would not have made it onto their new LP, because this does not really stick anywhere into that album, or could have not stuck anywhere into that record conceptually, as this is not a very scary song. It is a really weird concept. It's one of the weirdest concepts of any Clipping song, and truly and honestly, it's the concept that I'm not even going to get into it because I'd be spoiling too much. I want you guys to try it for yourselves, because it's one of the weirdest ideas that I think Clipping has put into a song, and it's just maybe a bit too much for me. Like, okay, guys, like, I get it. You could do a song about like almost fucking anything, but that doesn't mean you should. It's I do like some of the glitchy elements of the instrumental, though some of the sung vocal bits. David's flow, I think, is just kind of funny on this track, and it's an out there song. I mean, I respect that Clipping continues to, really ride the fray. I mean, they are just frayed the fuck out. Like they're the only group in hip hop or really anywhere in music right now doing songs like this. So respect for that, of course. Even if I'm not super crazy about it, still respect. Beach Slang, covering another track from the new Beach Slang record. Tommy in the 80s is the name of this new one, and it's a badass hard rockin' tune. Production is a little blown out to the point where I think more of the nuances and likable qualities of the song and the vocals get kind of hidden and obscured in a way I'm not crazy about, but still great energy, good performance, and just generally likable and fun. Fun is what I want to say. Fun. All right, let's get into the best tracks of the week. Tracks that I thought were the best, the tracks that really stood out to me. First off, let's give a shout out to this Uboa demo. It's a demo. Uboa is an artist who I've covered on the channel before. If you are unfamiliar with their music, with her music, do go onto my channel, look up this artist, and look, you're in for a harrowing experience with the latest record off of this project. Now, what's also been teased via social media is another project very soon, not predicted to be as grand or as conceptual an experience as the last record, but we're getting a bit of a teaser and a taster with this little demo here, Untitled 25-10-19, and it's pretty heavily layered in synths. It's a little disorienting toward the end, comes to a really great climax. Give it a try, give it a shot. It's experimental as hell too. All right, Palé, Rosalía, new single. It's a banger alert, and it's one of the weirdest and darkest songs she has come out with yet. I'm loving it. Super, super, super huge, amazing respect for the flamenco queen. Not that there's a whole lot of flamenco in this track either. I mean, obviously with Rosalía, there's a little bit of that in everything she does. But this is primarily a very groovy and dark pop song that's actually a little freakish too. And I'm loving that she's really heading in a unique direction with this track. So just a huge respect. Amazing. Also, this track over here, which I caught from, I think it was the Twitter from 100 gecs, because Dylan, I think, did production for this track over here too. It's from an artist who goes by the name of Ravenna Golden. Keep Going, Don't Stop, featuring Little West. And it's a funny little, I guess, blend of pop and hip hop, but it has that weird outsider, kind of freaky, colorful, playful 100 gecs personality to it that so many of us enjoyed off of 1,000 gecs. So loving hearing that play out here in a way with a different artist, and loving hearing, I guess, this thing that I'm enjoying with 100 gecs evolve into maybe its own little miniature trend, influencing other artists and getting them to make pop music that's supremely out there as well. So liking that makes me excited. All right, Poppy has come through. Blood Money is the name of her new track and music video. It is badass as fuck, industrial as fuck, loud as fuck, blown out as fuck. And it's not so much the groove metal and nu metal vibes of her last big track. This is so much more dark and abrasive and very, very freaking edgy. Edgy AF, my boys. Edgy AF. I'm just liking the dark direction. I think the music video is a little campy. Probably some huge Kill Bill vibes on it. Yeah, I'm not too crazy about the visuals, but still loving the incredibly abrasive and experimental sounds that she's bringing forward. For sure, Poppy's going to find a new direction at some point in the future post this, but I think what she's doing right now is very interesting. All right, Lucy Dacus has come through with another single in this series of tracks that she's been dropping throughout 2019. This new one is titled Fool's Gold, and I wasn't even aware of this, and it's original too. I guess all of these tracks that she has been dropping have been tied into or in reference to or inspired by a holiday that they were released around, and I guess the inspiration for this one is New Year's, which is actually kind of cool. It's a beautiful tune. Lucy's vocals on it sound great. She has that wonderfully deep, mature sound to her voice that definitely makes her stick out in the current singer-songwriter field. Give it a try. Give it a shot. It's lovely. All right, Mirage, newest track from Jessie, Ware. It is a beautifully groovy, dancey single. It's a quality single. Good dancey grooves. Somewhat pristine, light on the ears as well as a lot of her material tends to be. So pretty, groovy, and euphoric. I'll say that. All right, want to point out a remix here of a track from Guerilla Toss. They've come out with a little small remix project of moments from their Twisted Crystal project. This new one over here, Meteorological, that's the track that's being remixed. It's the Khotin remix. And yeah, just some strong alternative house vibes coming off this remix of this track. Excuse me. It's actually kind of interesting to hear Guerilla Toss's music treated in this way. FKA Twigs, Sad Day, song from her newest record, Magdalene. And not going to get too much into it because I plan on talking about this album very soon. So you will get my opinion on this track and the rest of them as soon as the review on this drops. But you can know that this track I did love. Thought it was really good. All right. Also shout out to Clark, who's come through with a new banger. It's kind of a weird techno excursion. Legacy Pet is the name of it. Goes pretty hard and is cold AF and robotic AF. And I'm just loving the cold, dark vibes off of this one. And the Black Lips, they have a new record coming out in 2020, like the first thing next year. And believe it or not, it is, if you couldn't already tell from the last teaser, which I didn't make any assumptions because the Black Lips have done all types of tracks over the course of their career. But I guess between this one that they've just dropped, which is titled Gentleman, and the last teaser that they dropped that I thought was really good, I guess they're doing a country album. It's an honest-to-God Black Lips country album. So, again, not the first time they ever dabbled in or referenced country music on their records, but for them to do an entire album of country, I think is pretty cool. And again, Gentleman is the name of the track. I think it's a really good song, and excited to hear the Lips go in this direction. And Andy Stott has a new project out, which is actually pretty, amazing. I'm just noticing now that this is like a six-legged zebra. That's pretty cool. But anyway, if you like your electronic music dark and cerebral and heavily textured, as Andy Stott's music tends to be, then I would give this new collection of tracks a try. Give this track, specifically Versi, a shot because it's really good. And also want to give a shout out to the Injury Reserve remix of 745 Sticky from 100 gecs. It is very out there. Huge respect to Richie for doing what he does on this track vocally. A huge shout out to the production, which is nuts. I feel like in a way, Injury Reserve made a stranger remix than even A.G. Cook did when he did a remix of 100 gecs, a few weeks or a week or so ago. So shout out to the remix, respect to 100 gecs and their influence, the ripples that they've been making throughout the industry, the connections they've been making throughout the industry. And I think that is our weekly track roundup, everyone. Hopefully you guys got some good recommendations out of this video. They're all linked down below with, once again, our Turntable Lab link, our Patreon link. And we will see you guys in the next one. Anthony Fantano, weekly track roundup forever.